See, data science and statistics, they are like interrelated, right? So uh, many parts of statistics are required, like a good amount of knowledge of statistics
Yeah.
is required. So I'll be covering those parts, like wherever required. For example, you should have a good amount of knowledge about the statistical distributions, right? Like normal distribution, normal binomial distribution. So those you should see, many persons, they know about the name. Okay, this data should be normally distributed. But if you are going to interview with a reputed company, right? So well-known company. So just only having this knowledge will not suffice. So what is normal distribution? What are the criteria? What are the features of normal distribution? What is skewness, kurtosis? So there are so many things. How can you guarantee that okay, this particular data is following normal distribution, right? Most of the times people get the data and they assume that okay, this is normally distributed, right? But actually
Yeah.
it may not be. To what extent my data is normally distributed? So these questions you should be very clear with, right? So then and in many interviews, a good amount of
Yeah.
discussion is on statistics. Right? So this
Yeah.
is one part. Another is like you must have heard about hypothesis testing, right? P-test, T-test, chi-square test, those things. Do
So,
you-
like, we will be doing that in practical
Uh,
hypothesis testing, or it will be like more conceptual.
like both we'll do both. That's why I have mentioned my screen is
Yeah.
visible, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. So in the second module, so I have mentioned like hypothesis testing concepts. So here I mentioned concepts. So together with concepts, we will also see it programmatically, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So how we can do hypothesis testing, uh, and like what to infer from that, right? So that is most important. So how to do the hypothesis testing and other kinds of testing, normality testing, and what to infer from that, right?
Okay.
So suppose you built a model, say linear regression. So after building a model, we find the feature importance. Uh, okay, important set of features. Okay, so have you ever like done this kind of thing, finding the key features, key drivers?
Like backward propagation, like not that, but yeah, p according to p value, like which one needs to be eliminated while selecting
Yeah,
features that I have done.
yeah,
So
yeah.
look
So
up the p value, and according to that, we will eliminate that column. And
yeah,
again, yeah,
so see, so we eliminate the column on the basis of p values, and there are other methods also. But now, if somebody asks, okay, so why we eliminate, or what is the motivation behind the elimination? What is the process actually? What is the concept? So that also we should know, right? So how we can select the features, right? So those things we will be covering in this course. So uh, this one, feature engineering and feature selection, module 4, right? So concept, feature engineering and standard methods, and feature selection techniques. So there are different types of feature selection techniques, right? So feature selection means suppose you are having say a data with say 200 columns, right? And not all these columns are required. So then you want to eliminate or select the most representative ones, say 50 most representative features. Then how to do that, right? So there are different methods for doing that, right? So those things we will be covering.
okay. So can I know your background, uh, like you are working into Python only, like from starting?
Uh, so okay, so can you come again? I missed some part of. Can you tell again?
You know, I was asking like you were working as a Python developer or like how you started.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, so like I am majorly like onto the development, data science development, and mostly like I work on Python. So, my expertise in Python and also R. So both Python and R. So me and my team, like so far we have developed a number of end-to-end solutions uh, like different machine learning domains like text mining, probabilistic graphical models, predictive analysis,
Yeah.
forecasting.
Okay.
So you said you are comfortable with Python, so you
Yeah.
have working.
Yes.
So what about R? Like, do you have knowledge about R also? Have you worked on
No.
R?
No. No. I don't know about I really don't try with R.
Mm. Okay. No problem. So Python, like it's good to have the knowledge of R as well, but mostly Python is it's preferred for data science analysis. But there are some areas where actually R is helpful. R is also a very good language. So both Python and R are used extensively for data science analysis. So for statistical analysis and all, R is very much suitable. So we developed a number of solutions in R as well. Like in my current project, so this project is going on for 1.5 years. So I'm working with a CPG organization. So we developed a Bayesian network framework. So we developed that entirely on R. So it is a probabilistic graphical model. Then uh, with the Bayesian network, we perform the other things like forecasting, simulation, then optimization. So those things are developed on R. So uh, R is it is very strong for statistical analysis, forecasting. So just for your knowledge, I'm telling. So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Like I will try. I will learn from my side. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Actually, it was not required as such in the company and whatever projects I have done. So
Hmm.
never felt like I should learn that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like Python, as I said, so Python is mostly preferred, right? So, but as you are planning to move to a pure play analytics organization, right? So to the data science domain majorly. So, in that case, like to have some knowledge of R is also like helpful. When we take the interviews, then we also ask to the candidates like we also prefer Python, like having a fair bit of knowledge of Python. That is what we look for. Of course, like with the data science concepts, because just having a good programming knowledge will not suffice, right?
Yeah.
The person should have good knowledge, conceptual knowledge also about the data science areas. But we also see like if the person has some knowledge of R, that is not a mandatory requirement or uh,
Yeah, but
nothing
that
of that
helps.
sort. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can start with the session. So our initial in the first module, so what in the initial few uh, these points, you can see that like we will start with Python installation and launching. I know you already you have good experience working with Python, but this will be like uh, this initial 4 points. So this will be sort of like brush up, right? Brush up of the concepts. So so uh, I guess like you use Jupyter Notebook, right,
Yes.
for Python programming. So have you also used SpyDay or PyCharm?
Yes. Both are there.
Okay, okay. Okay, so I think so in that case, like you know how to launch the Jupyter Notebook. We can launch it from directly from the Anaconda installation or from the command prompt also we can launch, right? So that is what I have done. So I have opened the Jupyter Notebook. Okay. So now uh, this is a new notebook created. So now uh, I'll start with the that is the installation and launching that you already know. Uh, yes, you are mainly working with Python. So now we'll have a brush up on the very quickly. We'll have a brush up on the Python data types, right? So we can make the session bit interactive. So uh, okay, so uh, tell me what are the data types in Python?
So like string list, then
Mhm.
we have set tuples, dictionaries, all
Yes.
these kind of
So
data types in
yeah.
pattern.
So numbers, list, string, tuple, dictionary, and also there is another one set. Right? Set is also there. When we set, so have you used set? So
Yes.
set is also a data type. So
Yes.
set we can use for finding the unique values, right? And for doing other operations like union, intersection. Uh,
Yeah.
so now list and tuple, so they are pretty much similar. The difference is that lists are mutable. You can change a list after defining, but tuples are immutable, right? So once you define a tuple, you cannot change any value in the tuple. You can you can add the values, but you cannot change the positions, right?
Yeah.
So this is there. So similarly, strings are also immutable. Means once you define a string, then you cannot change the values. So these list and dictionary, they are mutable. That means you can change after defining. And tuple and strings are immutable, right? So you
Yeah.
cannot change the values. So we'll quickly, as I told, so uh, I will not spend much time on that, but that will be a quick brush up. Because maybe you can also any sort of, because there are some catches also and some tricks also, right? So we can apply, so suppose least comprehensions and these things. So you can
Yeah.
also let me know if you have any doubt on or any such query, right?
Yeah.
So
There was one question that was asked, like, what is the
hmm.
difference between a list and a array in Python? So, like, as such, we don't have any concept of arrays in Python.
uh,
So, like,
see.
what will be
Hmm.
the exact answer for this one?
Yeah. So see, we have arrays. It's not like that we don't have array, but the explanation can be given in this way. So array we have. So you can use array like using NumPy. So np.array. So we have the concept of array, but the difference is that unlike other languages like C, C++, or even in R, also we have array as one of the data type, right? So you can define. So as you know, in C, array itself is a data type, right? So we can define 1D or 2D array, but in Python array by itself is not a data type,
Okay.
right? Array
Yeah.
by itself is not a data type.
Mm.
Okay, so we can define open this.
You're using number array.
Yes, we can use the NumPy array. So let me go to Python data types. So see, these are the valid data types in Python, right? So numbers, list, tuple, string, set, and dictionary, right? So these are the data types. Now, so on the same question, so once we have a question, so it is better that we clarify it end to end, right? So these are the 6 data types in Python, inbuilt data types. So what does it mean? Inbuilt means we do not need to call any external library for invoking these data types. For example, you want to create a list, you can simply create a list using the inbuilt either list that function or using the third bracket, right? We do not need to call something like pg.list or np.list. That is not required. Same thing for string, set, tuple. Tuple, as you know, like we need to give first bracket, right, for creating a tuple. But so these are inbuilt data types. Now for arrays are there. Array we use in Python, like that is very much there, like for creating 2D matrices and doing like matrix inverse, then matrix operations. Arrays are used, but array is not a fundamental data type in Python.
Okay.
So does that clear your query?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and also another thing you can also keep in mind is that now Python, as you know, it's a very flexible and very powerful tool, right? So
Yeah.
most of the tasks what an array can do can also be done using a list, and maybe like in most of the cases we can do it in a better way, right? In a simplistic manner. So that's why array is not as popular in Python as that is in other languages. For example, in C or C++, array is like it is one of the most commonly used data type, right? So like for manipulation of 2D, 3D, 2D matrices, 1D matrix, of course, this is a vector. For manipulation of matrices, doing like matrix operations and all. So arrays are like extensively used, even for doing data structure operations, right?
Yeah.
Like sorting, searching, queuing. So linked list and arrays are extensively
Yeah.
used, right?
Mm.
But that is not the case with Python. So your take an MTech from which branch? Computer science.
Yes. IT actually.
Okay. Okay. So like you are in that case, like you are well aware of data structure also, right?
Yes.
Sorting, searching, sort, binary search, like this different kinds of sorting, searching, linked list, those you are aware of.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So now I'll quickly like cover. I'll run some pieces of. So let me copy this side. Right? Okay, so this as I said, so this today's session it's a brush up of like the initial like basic concepts of Python, but these are required because sometimes what happens, see, when we deal with advanced things, so sometimes like we forget or we sort of lose track of the basic things, right? So it's good to have that brush up. For example, the question which you asked, so that is a very valid question, difference between array and list, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here what we are doing, so to find, I have defined a list, right? So then I want to count the vowels in a string. So this is a string, so I want to count the vowels. So just have a look and like I will quickly run it, but you are okay with the code?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. So this is my base string. So string, as you know, like string is a array of characters, right? If we talk about talk in terms of C++, so string is an array of characters. Here we can say that uh, in Python way we can say that it is a list of characters, right?
Yeah.
So here I have defined this string, and then I am iterating through the characters. And if it is a vowel, if the string falls in a vowel, then I am displaying.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, so we can find out the consonant also. So in that case, like we can do like if that is this in is that is a keyword. So if that is not in, then there is a not in vowels, then this will be a consonant. Okay, so the other parts are also in the similar light. Now some of the points here. So you know about string comprehension.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we have like two lists or strings, so we can quickly do the operation on them, right? So okay, some example. So suppose my list one, because this is a very useful operation, list comprehension.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I have defined two lists. Now I'll do operation. Okay, so can you tell me what it will do?
Yeah, actually, we are combining both list and list two elements. So it is saying like for x and y, that means for uh, say list one, x will be a, list two, that will be x. I mean for x, y means that variable.
Hmm.
In this list one and two means we are zipping both the list, so it will be like both looping both the list at one time. So if
Yeah.
you say for x, y in zip list 1 and list 2, and then we are making it a tuple. So it will give
Yes.
a comma x, then e comma y, and I comma z.
Yeah.
Like this.
So it will be a list of tuples, right? So this new list what I created, so zip is an iterator, right? So in Python we have iterators like zip, then range, you know, right? So if we want to create the range of values say 1 to 10, then we can write range
Yes.
11. So then
Yes.
it will give values from
0 to 10.
1 to 10. Yeah, 0 to 10. So these are known as iterator.
Yes.
Another Jeep range, and then another command is iter, iter, right? So going to yeah. So these are iterators. So here Jeep is jeeping means combining these tools, and it is one of the like very important keyword, right? So here the point to note is that the two lists are not of same size, right? So but even then, so these things are powers of Python. So even though the two lists are not of same size, but still zipping happened seamlessly, right? So just the zipping happened according to the size of the length of the smaller list,
Longest.
right? uh,
Yeah.
smaller list. So here list
So
2 has 4 elements, right? So list 1 has 5 elements, but it went till 4 elements, right? To group up with list. So I will take some similar examples. So here, let me take this one just to brush up our concept. Right? Yeah. So it's not so some more on Jeep. So here I am defining two lists,
Yes.
and when I will do list 1 plus list 2, then like as you know, it will combine the two lists, right?
Yes.
It will extend the list. So see, these operations are very simple in Python, but in other languages we might need to write a for loop for that to add and to do jipping, right? So these kind of operations, but Python, these are very simple. Now uh, okay, so now can you tell me the output of uh, this? Yeah, so what will be the output of this one, the first line? Hello, hello.
Oh, sorry. This will add list one and list two elements.
Hmm.
So for x in list one, for y in list two, so x in list one will be one, and then for y in list two will be five. So it will print six. Then again it will go for y in list two. So next time it will be four. So but x
Hmm.
will be one only. So it will be five.
Yes,
Like this
yes,
it
yes.
will be.
Right, right. So actually, it will do like that, right? So if like we have taken one, and then so suppose x is one, so first element from list one, and then all the elements, because it is like that, x in list one, and then for y in list two. So for every y, right? So one is added to every element of list two, right? So this part, and then 2 is added to every element of list 2. So this is
Yes.
like that, right? So it will give us this big list. So these things are like some tricky concepts. So our concept should be clear on this part. So if somebody wants to add each element rather, then this will not help, right? This
Yes.
for x in list run, this will not help. In that case, we need to do it in this manner.
Yes.
Zip, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then some parts I will not run them. Just I'll just quickly like go through them. So these operations, right? String dot lower, string dot upper, capitalize, split, then string dot replace, right? So these are string operations, right? So those we can perform, and we can also perform joining of two strings, right?
Yes.
So we can join the strings also. So suppose so joining is like that. So joining of the words between the strings. So here my string 4 is this. So what will be the output of this? So it will string 4 is this one. Let's learn programming. So it will be let's underscore learn underscore programming, right? So when we give join. So the complement opposite of join is split. So we can split the string. We can give the split character, and then it will split the string. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So then let's come to dictionary. So again, we'll quickly go through the concept, and please ask me if you have any. I know you are well aware of them. But any such like query or doubt, like the way the one you asked about like array and list, right? The difference between array and list. So if you have like any doubt of that sort, please ask me. So today's session, the purpose of today's session is to brush up those concepts, those things. Uh, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. So here I am defining dictionary, right? So yeah. So I'm defining three dictionaries, right? So Yeah, so I have defined 3 dictionaries, right?
Yes.
Now we can use the type commands, right? So
Mm.
let me define this also.
So in dictionary, if we want to modify key value, then how we can do that?
Yeah, so see, dictionary we are discussing, right? So unlike tuples and uh, tuple and string, list and dictionary are mutable, right? So if we define a dictionary, then we can change the content of the key also, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that can be done. So how we can do that? So that we can see. So here, see, we have defined the dictionaries, right? So dictionary one. So now we can have this value. So yeah, so it will give the values, right? So now to change the value, so it's very simple. So in place of apple, so we can give some other value, right? So it's as simple as that, right? So now if we see the dictionary again, right? So that key value is changed, right? Now the, the point to note here is that if it would have been a instead of dictionary, if it would have been a say tuple, then we could not have done that, right? We cannot, once defined, we cannot change the value because tuples are immutable. Suppose I define a tuple. So I define that, and now suppose I want to change its change a value. So this equal to 10. So it will show this error, type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment because tuples are immutable. So this thing also we need to keep in mind. So these are very basic things. But what happens when we develop a big solution? Then many places, like due to this small thing, some error occurs, and we just we go on breaking our head. Okay, where the error might have come, right? So suppose you developed a big piece of machine learning code for a machine learning model, and then at the time of running, you are seeing these type of errors, right? It even it happens with seasoned programmers also. It happens with me as well. Like sometimes, okay, we miss this small then the big program, so this error is coming, this type of error. So due to this error, we are not able to solve. Just give me a moment.